Hey, welcome back. So we are making those snowshoes we designed last week. And so the long mill is going through and milling out the excess wood that we don't need for our snowshoes. And it's doing a fine job of it. We are using 1/2 inch plywood. It ended up measuring out 0.45 of an inch. So it wasn't even quite 1/2 inch, but we'll forgive them this time. It came from Lowe's. It was one of those 24 by 48 1/2 inch plywood sheets. And I think it cost somewhere around $24 to $28 at our Lowe's. I don't know how much it cost everywhere else. You would have to check that for yourself. But my goodness, this was a really quick carve, so it was all good. And check out this heater. My hubby and I found this heater. It is by Redfern Industries. I got it at level 4 whenever I started out. It about cooked me out. I had to turn it down. I was like, woo! But this thing is amazing. It's an amazing heater, and it comes with its own stand. Well, you have to buy the stand, but it's okay. It's great, but it's meant for patios and garages. So, and it's like waterproof too. You can spray water on it. It's good. I'm showing you right here. This is leather cord that I bought at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to be using this to make some little loops in our snowshoes to hold the macrame cord that we're going to use, that is going to be, the meshy weave looking stuff on the inside of the shoes. Now, if you had real snowshoes, it obviously would not be macrame cord and it would not be plywood. Okay, so these are for decorative purposes only. This is like a cabin style winter or Christmas theme style of decoration. Okay, this isn't for, don't really try to make these and then wear them out in the snow, because they probably wouldn't work. I don't know, they might work for an hour, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. But anyways, I'm just going through and I'm measuring. It was hard. I was trying to figure out how far I wanted the holes apart. I tried to do 1/2 inch holes. It didn't work out. So I ended up doing the holes 1 inch apart, and I liked that much better. Measuring in the rounded areas was a nightmare. So do your best. Try to get them at least straight across from each other even. And if they're not quite an inch, that's okay. And then just go through and drill your holes. I tried to offset the holes on the little crossbars because I didn't want to create a giant hole, so they're offset from one another, and you will see it right here. So the top part has more holes than the bottom part, and that kept it from, possibly slipping and like creating this giant hole. And then you just go through and do the ones on the sides and around the top and bottom. All right, so now I get to measure the bottom. Find your center and then just go 1 inch from that all the way down. I ended up using the measuring tape because this was very frustrating. It was not working very well. not my favorite thing to do. When you got something round and you got to make some kind of measurement. I'm just not sure how you do it. I just don't know. I did my best. Maybe this is how you do it. It's how I did it, so that's all that matters. Alright, so now I'm just transferring. Like, I used my pencil, I extended the lead out really far, and I just marked my holes. So that way I didn't have to go through all the measuring again. Made sense to me, so hopefully they're accurate. Do some sanding, get all the little pokies off, because the drilling that created some splinters. And then you want to get your cord ready. So I just tied some sort of knot, slip knot. I don't know what it is. I think that's what it is, but I'm not really sure. And then I poked the loop up through a hole, and then took the rest of the cord and pulled it through that loop to tighten it onto the snowshoe. It was a pain to get the loop up through that hole, because the hole was meant for just the cord single layer, and I did poke it through in other spots where there was already cord through a hole. You kind of have to do that a couple of times throughout this, but that's okay. It goes through. It was just a little tight, but if the holes would have been too big, it would have been weird. So I'm not mad at it. It's fine. And get that pulled through, and you can go ahead and pull this part tight if you want, but the rest of it, as you're looping through, you want to leave a loose loop, and I'll show you what I mean. But you're just going to kind of loop it back around, and you're trying to create a loop on the inside of that hole. You don't want to do it on the outside, so you're only dealing with the inside of the opening of the snowshoe. And then whenever you pull it, you don't pull it all the way tight. You leave a loop, and then you just keep on going, leaving a loop every time, because that's what that macrame cord is going to go through to create the weaving in the shoe. So this is just part of the structure for your weaving. And see there, you just leave those loose, so that way you can fit the macrame cord inside the loop. Alright, so right here, I'm going to take my cord and I'm going to poke it through that very first starting point. And after I poke it through there and I pull all the way through, it creates that loop that I needed in that corner. And then I just poke it through that bottom hole that I was pulling it towards. I just poke it through there. And then I just continue to do my loops on the bottom part of that little crossbar of the snowshoe. So we are going to continue our loops across and then down, back across, and then around and meet up to where we started. And then that snowshoe will be complete, and then you're going to want to do the second snowshoe exactly the same. And then once you get up there, you're just going to want to tie it, attach it, cut off excess, and then you have them all complete. You have all your little loops, and you're ready to create the weaving on the inside of those holes. So I didn't really have an idea of how it's supposed to be done. I'm not real sure. I tried to watch a video on how they make the weaving for the snowshoes, and it was really confusing. So I just say weave it in and out. Make sure that you're going across and you're going under and over other cords that you've already, the other cord that you've already pulled through, and just make sure you have it connected to each one of your loops that you created with that leather cord. And then when you're finished, you're just going to tie it off, and you'll have this cute little, I don't know, meshy area. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, these are for decoration only. They should not be worn out in the snow. And so yeah, cut off your excess, and there you go. And then we're going to get started on that middle section. The middle section I did different from the top and the bottom because it wasn't as rounded. And so I did kind of just like weaving you would have done as a kid in art class. I just went up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, all the way across. And then as I went side to side, I pulled it in and out, in and out, in and out, like up and over, right? Like the normal weaving that you learned as a child with construction paper. I don't know if everybody learned that in school like I did, but I did whenever I was a kid. That's what I learned. So maybe it's because I come from New Mexico. I don't know. But we learned how to weave. And so I just pulled them up and over, or under and over, under and over. And then as soon as I was done and I had it all complete, then I just tied off the little tail that I had at the end, and I cut off the excess. And I always cut them off towards the back, so that way they're kind of hidden at least. I don't notice them, but that way there's not some weird looking fluff hanging out in the front of your snowshoe. See, just tie it, cut it off. Perfect. There you go. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. And then I did some straps. I took a piece of cord, and I tied it to the shoe, but it wasn't where it was going to be permanently. It was just so that way I could tie these square knots. So I had 2 pieces of cord technically, but I had 4 strands, and I did a square knot until I liked the length of it, and then I did a second one, and then I tied those together to make my strap for that side, and I did that to the other side, and then I just kind of tied them together at the very end, but they weren't really tied, if that makes sense. They're really just decorative as well. I don't think that these straps would work so well, but they're cute. and that's all that matters. And there you go, all done. You can put them up in your house wherever you want them, wherever you want to decorate. I don't have winter stuff out right now. I have mostly fall stuff out. I do still have some spring flowers. Shh, don't tell nobody. I like my spring flowers. Anyways, you can just put them wherever that you want to decorate. It would be really cute with, I don't know, the bear kind of decor, you know, like the bear rugs and the wood style ornaments and those kinds of things for Christmas. Front porch would be cute. I don't know, whatever you decide. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.